It's okay. Just lay down. I'm not going to be very long. Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching. It is the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. We're doing Wednesday night live. Probably not going to be a very long live because I haven't been feeling very well today. Physically not feeling well today. So, but there are some things we need to talk about and some things I want to get out. So again, thank you for watching. And shalom, salam, namaste, peace, blessings upon everyone. Thank you again for tuning in for a few minutes and sharing some time with me on the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. Of course, to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment here in the chat if you feel so inclined. Start off with a school shooting this morning. School shooting in Texas. Arlington, Texas, midway between Dallas and Fort Worth. When I first started reporting on school shootings a number of years ago, it was generally someone coming into a school and shooting the school up. Sandy Hook Elementary, as an example. But we really drew the attention was really drawn to Columbine in Colorado when it was kids shooting kids, and that's what we're seeing now. It's incredibly troubling. It's an incredible statement about our society and about our inhumanity as an American culture, if there is such a thing. Senseless, gratuitous violence. Violence is, the United States of violence is just as apt term as the United States of America. And it's not going to get any better because things are perpetuated that lead us, that program us, that condition us, that make it seem less absolutely unacceptable than it is when we look at it as truth. I mentioned Sandy Hook, and there's a radio host named Alex Jones, and you might see him on TV at times. He does podcasts, and he was perpetuating the idea that Sandy Hook was a hoax to steal people's guns, and some people got very upset with him about that and sued him. And a judge has just ruled recently that he can be sued. So what you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. And Alex Jones profited. I spoke last night about how lying makes you a whole bunch more money than telling the truth. Telling the truth doesn't make you popular. It doesn't make you even acceptable. And yet another example of a doofus and not telling the truth. And this time it's going to bite him. And I hope it continues that way. I really would like to see our nation pivot, do a 180 from hate and violence and aggression and anger to understanding and acceptance and tolerance and some things that when I was a kid maybe they've never been important at all, but they were important to me as a kid and still as an adult. Honesty, honor, loyalty, integrity, those things, they don't seem to matter anymore. And that's sad. That's, but I think it's true. Yeah. So I'm going to hop over here to the chat for just a moment. Hello, Soul Food for the Gods, Delian of Yah, Olivia. Hello, thank you all for being here. The school shooting today in Texas, last Friday, this past Friday in Indianapolis, Indiana, at a homecoming football game, a shooting occurred. Kids shooting kids, and in a game with Ben Davis High School and Carmel High School, two of the biggest schools in the state, and a shooting occurs. How did we get to the place where disagreements are automatically settled by shooting? You know, I mean, we were there in the Wild West, supposedly, if you believe the movies, the history, the legends, that you solve things with guns, and now it seems like that's the only way to solve things is with guns. And what bothers me is that I shouldn't be susceptible to such a thing. But I've told you I'm always going to tell the truth. And a couple of weekends ago, I went to see guys that I used to play music with, guys that we did original music, and we played together for about 25 years, and they're still actively playing in bands. And I went to see them, and it was a great night for their first set. Their first 45 minutes of playing was a great night. And the lead guitarist, one of my oldest friends, it was his birthday, and everything was fine until somebody decided they wanted the spot I was sitting in more than they felt I should have that spot. Okay, got up and went to the bathroom, had full beer there on the table. I left my cell phone on the table. Obviously, I'm coming right straight back after going to the bathroom, and I get back, and there are two people sitting there, and the first thing I didn't even think about anything other than this is going to be a confrontation, and that should have been the last thing I thought about. But instead, I just picked the beer up, I picked the phone up, and I said, "Thanks for taking my seat," and walked away. And that's probably as mature as I've been in a situation like that in a long time, because I'm getting older. And I walked away, and that should have been the end of it, but it wasn't. It wasn't the end of it, because the guy decided, okay, he's going to come and confront me if I'm not going to confront him. And he came down, he said, "You were very rude." I said, "I was rude. Okay, I come out of the bathroom and you're in my seat and I'm the one that's rude." And he said, "You long-haired hippie peaceniks, you just need to stay away from regular people. And I said, I'm not a long-haired hippie peacenik, even though some people may think that I am. I didn't say that to him. I thought to myself, I'm not a long-haired hippie peacenik necessarily, but I really am. But at that moment, I wasn't. And what I said to him was, actually, I'm a long-haired redneck Second Amendment rights gun owner, and I got my gun out in the car. Would you like to come out and see it? And that was a stupid thing to do. There could have been a major confrontation. I could have said it to the wrong person. But instead I said it to somebody that went, no, hey, he started shaking my hand. No, hey, I'm sorry, go back and sit down. I'm like, no, you go sit down. And a lot of times that could be how things happen, is that you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, and things escalate, and suddenly things blow up. And that could be what happens in our country a lot. And I just wanted to air it out that that's not the right thing to do. But that's what overcame me at that moment. And the anger in our country, the hatred, hey, Oakley, Doofus dog's going after Doofus cat. I'm sorry. I don't know if you could hear Doofus cat squealing, but it is it's in the air. Someone last night in the show last night said war is coming, and I don't doubt that. It's just what kind of war is coming. The only way our country's ever been united is when we've been at war with someone that can somehow be painted as a common enemy, and that's a sad statement on a very violent country. But we've always been a violent country. We were born of violence. We've expanded violently, and there have been very few times of actual peace. People look back upon the time right after World War II ended as a great time. The mid to late 40s and the early to mid 50s as a great time, simply because we weren't really at war, but we were. It just, we were in Korea. It was just wasn't declared. It was a peace action. And if you take a look at what's going on, we are still in Korea some 70 years later. So yeah, I have been very concerned about the fact that there might be a war amongst our own people, a civil war, while there would be nothing civil about it. And that still may be the case with the far left and the far right. I'm hoping that's all dying down and dying off. As I said last night, from what I've been observing lately, people are peeling away from the Trump movement, of the QAnon thing. Not that there aren't more than enough to cause major problems, but some people are just getting tired of it, month after month after month, of going, okay, this is the month, this is the month, this is the month. And of course, each time they do that, we've got to come on here and tell you, pardon me, please. We've got to come on here and tell you, they're saying this is the month, this is the day. Now, looking at it purely analytical, if there was to be a month and a day, the last thing I would do, if I had anything to do with it, would be announced when and where it was going to happen. But I'm not Thankfully, I'm not part of that movement. Hi, Sissy. I'm going to end with one more thing here. I'm going to be on tomorrow night. Again, I'll be on tomorrow night at 10. I'm sweating. I'm coughing. Starting to get a migraine. I'm just really not feeling well. But I want to get this. Oh crap! I want to get this out. Unlock my computer, my information computer here. I'm going to end with this. I'm going to end with a story from CNN. Actually, I'm not, because I got one more update. I told you last night about Chris Rock. Chris Rock, the famous comedian, actor, incredibly brilliant, entertaining individual, is in critical care with COVID, and urged everyone to get a vaccination. Now, he himself had been vaccinated. So this is what's called a breakthrough case. When you get vaccinated, it doesn't mean you're not going to get COVID-19. Okay. It means if you do get it, chances are it's not going to be severe. You're not going to be hospitalized. You're not going to die. However, with Chris Rock, it appears that that the breakthrough case he developed through the Delta variant was indeed severe and is severe, and we continue to offer prayers and positive thoughts for one of America's most brilliant comedians. The last thing I want to touch on here. This is an article from CNN, from CNN's website. And this is the headline: body camera footage reveals Minneapolis police officers talking about hunting civilians during May 2020 protests. FARG, okay, FARG these people as the final end comment of the headline. Body camera footage of Minneapolis police officers' response to the protest in the days following George Floyd's death reveals officers talking about hunting people as part of a response to quell the unrest. CNN reviewed more than 2 hours of excerpted videos from multiple police body cameras released Tuesday by an attorney for a man who was recently acquitted on charges of firing a gun at officers after they fired non-lethal bullets at him on May 30th. May 30th was perhaps the most forceful response to protests seen by CNN crews on the ground up to that point in the week. This was after multiple nights of buildings being burned and 5 days after George Floyd was killed. A citywide curfew went into effect at 8 p.m. that evening. May 30th, 2020, was one of the most violent and explosive nights throughout the country. That the night that is under discussion here, there were incredibly violent protests in Indianapolis that we were monitoring, in Louisville that we were monitoring, St. Louis, literally all throughout the country. And this is what was going on in Minneapolis on that particular night. In one video that is time-stamped around 1 a.m. on May 31st, so it would have been just after midnight, then Minneapolis Police Commander Bruce Falkins, who has since retired, is heard telling an officer during a debrief, "Tonight, it was just nice to hear that we're going to go find some people instead of chasing people around." He continued, "You guys are out hunting people now, and it's a nice change of tempo." The officer agreed, to which Falkins responded, "FARG these people." Around 10:40 on May 30th, Minneapolis Police Sergeant Andrew Biddle is heard saying, We're rolling down Lake Saint. The first effers we see, we're just handling them with our 40s, apparently referring to 40 millimeter non-lethal rounds, which certain Minneapolis officers use to control crowds or during civil disobedience. 5 minutes later, they speed towards a gas station, shouting, "Go, go, 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 get up there. Let them have it, boys," is the end quote, Sergeant Biddle said. As they began firing on the group scattered, and officers later learned that the group was indeed the gas station owner and his family and their friends who were there to protect the station. Fargan doofuses, huh? In a separate location, just after 10 p.m. on May 30th, Lieutenant Johnny Mercil, yet another officer, approached Officer Michael Osbeck and said, "Farg these media people." In what appears to be a mocking tone, he said, "Hold on a second, let me check your credentials, make a few phone calls just to verify." And then Mercil goes on to tell the officers, "It's time to start putting people in jail instead of scattering them around." He said it would, quote, "prove the mayor wrong about this. White supremacists from out of state, although this group probably is predominantly white because there's not looting and fires," end quote. So I just wanted to end with that, and end with the idea that how do we perpetuate peace? That's a question, not an idea, because the idea is we need to start a movement of peace, a movement of transformation. And I'm all of you, well, those of you that watch on a normal basis know that I'm inclusive. I don't think, I have my own spiritual beliefs. I'm a Christian in that I believe in Jesus Christ. But the difference between my beliefs and a lot of people who claim Christianity is I believe in Christianity because of the teachings, the examples, and the direction that Jesus laid forth for us to try to follow, to be better people. Okay? A lot of people are Christian because of what they think they can get from Jesus. They'd say, "I'm a Christian because I've got eternal life, thanks to, my beliefs." Okay? And if you actually read the Bible and not just one or two verses, you may find yourself, if you are in that camp that believes, that you believe in Jesus because of what Jesus can give you, instead of in believing in Jesus for what Jesus has told us to do. There's a big difference. Okay, we can both call ourselves Christian, but we're not necessarily in the same camps. All right, and using Christianity to justify racism, to justify hate, to justify violence. None of those things are Christian, but they are all at times wrapped in the American flag with a big gold cross in front of it, trying to justify behavior that, in my opinion, if you're a Christian, behavior of our country at the moment, Jesus would not be impressed. So I'm going to hop back over here to the comments again for just a second. I love you all, I really do. And had I not been off trying to just get my head straight for a couple of weeks, I probably wouldn't have hopped on here tonight, but I wanted to because I have been gone, and I'm going to start getting back on here on a regular basis. And let's see what what we've got over here in the comments. If you're all just talking to yourselves, that's cool. If nobody has any questions or comments for me, Malik, how are you? Yeah, Malik, you're right. There are powerful people that want violence. Hey, in case you don't know, I wrote a book, another book. I've got 2 other books out. This is my 3rd novel. You can go in the description, the video description, go there, click on the link, check out the novel. Do me a favor, please, and share it with people. If you're not a reader and you don't like books, I totally understand that. I'm not saying buy the book. Share the link, if you would, with other people that, and especially people you know that read. This book, it's called America, Land of the Greed and Home of the Grave. Yes, a takeoff on Land of the Free and Home of the Brave. It's Land of the Greed and Home of the Grave. And it's a multicultural book. The black characters, the brown characters, the yellow characters, the communities of color, they aren't the bad guys. And this book is like holding a mirror up to where our country's at and where it may be going. And I ask that you consider reading it. It's an easy read, really, but it contains there are people who have 2 separate identities. There are people that have taken a name that is not theirs, which goes on all the time. Donald Trump, his family's real name is Drump, D-R-U-M-P-F, Drumpf. That was their name when they came over here. His great-grandfather changed it to Trump because it sounded better. Okay, then, the book. If you're not a regular reader, there may be some things you have to go back. You go, wait a minute, and you have to go back and read. And okay, I get it, because I want to challenge people. I want people, just like this show. The book doesn't tell you what to think or how to think. The book gives you a lot of things to think about, and that's what we try to do here. When people want human depopulation, then war is perfect in their eyes. They want violence. That was Malik's actual direct comment and quote. And there are too many people that want that. And those of us that don't want that, I don't know how we're ever going to get together. But the country would be a better place if we did, because I believe there's enough of us that we could make a significant difference. Now, the problem is people that want violence think if you don't want violence, then you're an easy mark. You're a sucker. And maybe that's why I behaved the way I did on that Saturday night, watching my friends play music, is because I come in peace. And I've always done that. I've always come in peace, except when playing sports. Okay. When playing sports, especially when playing football, I was coming to, not necessarily peacefully, but now and almost always, I've always come in peace. But at the same time, you have to be prepared in case things aren't peaceful, and you can't be an easy mark. It's a tightrope, in my opinion, and there are going to be those that see this and go, you're hypocritical. You're saying one thing at one time and another thing at another time. And yeah, you can say that, but what is true at one moment is not always true at another moment. Okay. The best thing to do is try to be peaceful, try to be tolerant, try to be understanding. But but don't be a doofus and get yourself hurt or injured or killed. Okay. I'm still praying for peace. When I was in politics, and I might have mentioned this on the show before, when I was in politics, I ended every speech, in politics, you end your speech, God bless, you end it with, God bless the troops, or God bless first responders, or, God bless America. Um, I always ended my speeches with, may God bless each and every one of you, and may God have mercy on the United States of America. And I still believe that's what we should be praying for. We should be praying for mercy, because we need it. We may be self destructing, and there may be nothing we can do about it. We may be, nature may decide to play a part in our destruction. There wouldn't be much we could do about that either. By the way, that's one of my other books is called Yellowstone, the Second Coming of Christ. And it's about the volcano under Yellowstone. There's a very massive, large super volcano under Yellowstone. And it's a way of teaching about that volcano through a novel story of a young priest, Midwestern priest, that goes to Yellowstone to spread the ashes of his dead father. Yellowstone was his father's favorite place on earth. And while he's there, it looks like the super volcano is going to erupt. And it ends up not erupting, and through a corrupt pope who, in order to deflect things that are going on in his papacy, the pope says that this young priest is the second coming of Christ. And that's that book in a nutshell. With I have sex in all my books. I have action in all my books, but they all are meant to make you think. The first one I wrote was 12, 12, 12, the final 10 days. And that was about a sociology professor conducting an experiment as the Mayan calendar ran out in December of 2012, if those of you that remember that. So, yes, he did. Thank you, Sissy. Grandmaster Jay did have court today. I haven't heard how it went. If I do hear, and it may be in my email, I didn't check, and I apologize for that. Like I said, I just haven't been feeling good. I've had stomach, I've had this coughing thing, and I'm the massive pain right here in my temples, and I'm sweating, and I normally don't sweat when I'm doing this show. So I should have been more prepared, because today was the day Grandmaster Jay went to court, and I should have put out some feelers to find some results. And hopefully I'll have something for you tomorrow. And if I do, I won't wait until 10 o'clock. I'm going to be live tomorrow night at 10. And if not, I'll put a post up saying, hey, not feeling well, I'll be on the next night. But hopefully moving forward, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I'm going to be live every night at 10 o'clock, because I enjoy it. I enjoy talking with all of you. I'm blessed that there are so many of you that watch this and listen and take some time. And I love you all for it. Thank you, Malik. Oliver, it is tragic. It is tragic for our culture. We should be better than this. At the end of the day, we are nobody but spirits, souls inside earth suits called bodies. So be careful and love everybody you know, for you know not who is inside. For some have, because that little arrows. Let me start that. This is from Soul Food for Gods. At the end of the day, we are nobody but spirits, souls inside earthly suits called bodies. So be careful and love everybody, for you know not who is inside. For some have entertained angels unaware body. Love everyone, but love nobody, not even yours. Henry, I'd love to talk with you, sir. Yeah, I've got. I don't consider myself. I no longer consider myself religious. I consider myself spiritual. Um, I I've had things and seen things and been behind the scenes enough to know that um, we are spiritual beings, as Soul Food for God says. We are spiritual beings, and we need that spiritual connection. Religion has twisted and perversed things many times over. Henry, I'd welcome that. Send me an email, americandufus@gmail.com, and we'll have you on and do an episode. Naomi, I voted for Biden. Okay. I voted for Biden. Not that I would again. Okay. But if Trump's the Republican nominee in 2024, I'll be voting for Biden unless we can come together somehow and put a third party internet effort together to get somebody as a legitimate write-in that everyone could get behind. I'll probably vote Republican in 2024, as it stands at the moment. But who knows? That's a long way off. And my gosh, so much has happened to this country in the past 18 months. The next 36 months, who knows where we're going to be. There is no good nor evil, for both sides think they are right. I've heard that. Wow, for some reason, a song just popped into my head from a band that most of you probably never heard of. They were called Black Oak, Arkansas, and one of the lyrics just popped into my head. I shook hands with both the devil and God, and the idea that we are both we're both good and evil, and the idea was that the devil would take in the song, the devil would take his body and God would take his soul. So both were appeased. Again, an obscure band that most people have never heard of, Black Oak, Arkansas. But there is good, there is evil, and maybe there is good and evil in all of us. And maybe it's our challenge to make sure the good always outweighs the evil. Something to think about. Thank you all. I love you all sincerely. I really, honestly do. Again, the book, the link for the books in the description, and I will be back on tomorrow night, 10 p.m. live. And if I find out something about Grandmaster Jay, as soon as I find it out, I'll get it up on Breaking News on a short. So I love you all. Thank you. Peace, blessings, shalom, salam, namaste. Nothing but the absolute best. And it's a dark world. It's tough to be a light. And I had to take a couple of weeks to make sure my light was still shining. And I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I love you all. It's the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. Can't even end the show right. Let me try that again. It's the American Doofus Show. I love y'all. Don't be a doofus.